Hello, everyone. Welcome to Decoding Downtowns, brought to you by Vistity. In this podcast, we dive deep with leaders from business improvement districts across the nation, revealing the strategies that are shaping the future of urban development and economic growth. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Jamie Schwartzman. Today, we're going to downtown Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm going to be speaking with Todd Ogden. He's the president of the Downtown Lincoln Association in Lincoln, Nebraska. Todd, how are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm just pleased to be here to talk about downtown.
Cool. Well, welcome to the podcast, and tell us a little bit about downtown Lincoln.
Yeah, downtown Lincoln. We're the capital city in Nebraska. We're a college town, sort of, but also, we're not a small city. We're a large town that is definitely evolving into kind of really a central opportunity zone of that right mix of wanting to not be big city or small city. And we've seen a lot of growth on that end, and we're just really excited to see where the future of downtown's heading as we evolve as a downtown to a 24/7 urban neighborhood.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Downtown Lincoln Association, how you guys are structured and financed.
Yeah, so actually, Downtown Lincoln Association started as what was called the O Street Gang. O Street's kind of the largest highway through our entire city. And back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, it was a couple big property owners that owned department stores that decided, okay, we're starting to get suburban sprawl around the late 60s, early 70s. Let's get together and provide a common voice for downtown. We got to work together now. We're not competing anymore. We're working together to ensure downtown stays strong. So that O Street Gang formed what is now called the Downtown Lincoln Association. And ever since 1967, we've been in existence. And we adopted the business improvement district method in the mid 80s, evolved that method into the 90s, and have continued to expand. And now our business improvement districts, roughly 125 blocks around our downtown area, with a couple really active districts.
I see. And are you member-based, or is this based on property tax assessment?
Solely special assessments. So we are property owner funded for the most part. We do get some other contributions from nonprofit tax exempt areas, but most of our budget is through this business improvement district. And we consider every tenant within that district a member. So we have about 500 different property owners downtown and roughly 980 businesses downtown.
And so tell us a little bit about what it's like to be president of an organization like this.
For me, I love it. I've grown up in this industry. I've grown up in this city. I'm born and raised Lincoln, Nebraska. Sort of became a downtown guy. Never want to leave Lincoln, so I'm really glad I got this job, because there's only one downtown here, and if I'm not leaving, I better get this dang job. So I've been president since 2019. And obviously, with a lot of the national impacts that happened right after that, it had to really thrust everybody into a higher leadership role with figuring out how to provide that common voice for a community that really needs that to continue to evolve and grow and be positive and be on the same page.
You mentioned to me that you've been in the IDA for a long time. So tell me a little bit about what that's been.
Yeah, I've been involved with International Downtown Association since like 2006. So I've been to over 20 different annual conferences, a lot of mini conferences. I'm an emerging leader fellowship, I forget what we're officially called, 2021, I think. And just really have grown up in downtown and been excited to take the experience that we learn through our IDA cohorts and bring it to our community. So it really enables us to help our downtown grow by forwarding on what are those urban trends that help our downtown evolve, just like all other downtowns need to. And for our city, it follows how downtown goes. And our downtown's different, but it's always the same roughly, because downtowns are always evolving and it will continue to evolve. So I think that's one thing I've learned, and just it's been really fun to see IDA grow as well. I was kind of the young gun 20 years ago, and now being involved 20 years now, just seeing more and more people get involved in the industry and see the industry grow as opposed to stay stagnant. It's a really positive thing.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about economic development and kind of what's going on in economic development in downtown Lincoln, and what the role that the bid plays in that.
Yeah, I mean, right now, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, but one of the biggest roles with economic development in our organization is creating that sense of place. With COVID speeding up the trends, again, we went from an 8 to 5 employee hub downtown to now an evolving 24/7 urban neighborhood. So the uses of that are going to change, and the priorities for our primary audience is going to change, which is residents, hybrid type employees. We've got to embrace that. We got to create downtown for the people that want to be downtown. That's one of the biggest faults that I think we could have made early on. When I started, it was like, okay, we have people in the suburbs that don't want to be downtown. How do we cater to them? How do we make our streets easier? That's not what we want to do at Evolve. If we want to grow as a downtown, we have to listen to our direct constituents, say, how can we make our downtown for you and give you that sense of place? And if you get that sense of place, then people are going to want to work downtown, people are going to want to live downtown, and people are going to want to spend their money downtown. And that's really kind of our role. How do we get involved in different catalyst projects so either the city or the private sector can take those ideas and grow them? And most recently, we finished our 2018 Downtown Lincoln Master Plan, which had 6 or 7 different catalyst projects. And our city since then has taken on every single one of them. And we're kind of in the thrust of all of them to try to help develop them for the future of our downtown.
I see. Are those projects completed or are they in process?
Most of them are in process. So a couple of them that are really big right now is our downtown convention center. We have a big South Haymarket Park in one of our strong districts to have a large kind of active green space that we don't currently have. We have a entryway corridors project, which is completely changing the aforementioned O Street, which is the middle of our downtown, and giving it some love and care to be a pedestrian friendly street and make it walkable, bikeable, drivable, shoppable, all of that stuff. So that corridors project is underway as well. We have a music district concept that we're working on. We're cultivating an area in our downtown that historically has thrived on local music and trying to enhance that and let that grow as much as possible to continue to have that be a true destination for our downtown. So those are a couple examples of different things that we worked on that stem from our downtown master plan.
What are some of the headwinds and challenges that you're facing right now in econ dev in downtown Lincoln?
I mean, I want to be original, but I'm not going to be. I mean, for us, it's funding. Like for Lincoln, we struggle. We don't have a lot of billionaires. So most of our projects are primarily publicly funded. Certainly, there's been some ARPA funds, which helped sped up a couple of these different projects that I've talked about. But for everything to work in our downtown, like we had in our arena that was developed in 2010, or the vote was in 2010 to pass, and it became a true public-private partnership. And that enabled that to grow and be built the right way. And a lot of these projects, we have to figure out how do we fund them and have it be the right funding where everybody feels like they have a stake in the game so they can be involved with the future of each of those projects.
So, on the flip side, what's working and where's the momentum right now?
For us, the momentum is we are seeing a trend in our downtown of people wanting to have an experience. For a long, long time, people commuted to downtown, and those are the only people that work downtown were people that commute. Now we have live work. We have a lot more residents. We went from 3,000 residents in 2010 to about 12,000 residents here today. And those residents have different needs, and those needs are kind of growing where we're spread out now. So that's really an advantage where we used to only be 8, 12, and 5. That's when all these clumps of people have come in. Now it's spread out through the day. I'm going to lunch at 2 o'clock. I'm going to dinner at 4 o'clock. I'm wanting to stroll around at different times of day. Our downtown's also growing. We have a new district that's kind of grown from our downtown where really we've become this whole downtown with kind of 5 mini sub districts that each have its own identity. So I think that's one of the things that have worked for us is develop different destinations that you can experience anything downtown. Our downtown is for everyone, but not everybody's always for downtown, and that's okay. And for me, one of the challenges, because we've lost those big clumps of 8, 12, and 5, the perception is, okay, where are the people? For a lot of our businesses, people are spending more money than they did in 2019. So how do we forward that experience to make sure we get the next generation of the experiential economy to our downtown? Those are what are thriving for our downtown. People want experiences, and that can be any line of business. If you're a retailer, if you're a restaurant, you're not just serving food anymore. You want to figure out how to keep things active. We're getting the axe throwing things, the golf simulators, even our retailers are have like little wine bars at them. Like, everybody wants an experience. Our banks have evolved so much, where we used to be run by the banks and insurance agencies downtown, where they had hundreds of employees. Now it's a show space for banks. They want to be interactive. They want to create co-working space. They want to bring public coffee shops into the teller line. So we're seeing that evolve. And I think that's helped our downtown have the right mix, and a better mix than we've ever had before. Now we just need to continue to advocate that and fill some of these spaces that are vacant, or some that are a little bit slow, and make each area unique.
Tell me a little bit about vacancy. Are you seeing high vacancy in areas? Are you guys, well absorbed? Give me a sense of that.
We're relatively low on vacant rates, so we're doing pretty good. I mean, a lot of our office space is transitioning right now. Some of it's transitioning to kind of that hybrid. We have a couple major employers that are changed their office. So yeah, they're probably going to have less employees on a day-to-day basis. But more employees filtering throughout the day. So creating kind of more of a hybrid co-working space environment, or those that are there all day, creating a space that make them want to be a part of it. And what we're trying to do is work with them to have spaces outside of their office. We are selling downtown for those groups as their entire office. If you office downtown, it's not just your specific physical space. Your office is the entire downtown. And that's something we want to continue to sell.
Are you seeing, national major brands come in for retail and for hospitality, or are they smaller indie craft and makers?
Most all over the place. We are local independent businesses, which is great. We have a unique identity in our downtown, and that's how we want to grow. Those bigger brands and national brands are in our suburbs, and that's fine. But for us, our growth is coming from having that experience, and maybe sprinkle it with a couple national or regional brands could help with the destination audience. But for the most part, I think about 90% of our restaurant and retail are local independent shops.
Hey, let's shift and talk a little bit about data. And of the data you're tracking, what do you think is the most valuable and interesting for investors, developers, and major stakeholders?
I think for us, the data that shows where people are going. So one thing we have yet to do is really get a full-fledged pedestrian movement kind of data chart, which would be great. But anecdotally too, like having different concepts of where are people at what time. We want to know where people are moving. And we're doing a parking study. So a lot of that study is where are cars and when are cars? How do we adjust our new level parking to meet the requirements of what our employees and residents need? For example, our entire O Street, again, that we talked about, had been metered, hour meters all day. Right, I should say 8 to 5, and then stop plugging. But now we're seeing, okay, that area primarily is Uber drop-offs for us, or rideshare drop-offs. And how do you alter that, especially for the night, to have it be something that can be dynamic, where you can have that at night, maybe during the day you have residents, and continue to get people in the garage. So that kind of parking data is super helpful for us as well. And even just little data points like how many sidewalk cafes do we have downtown? What are different kind of placemaking opportunities we have? What's our safety profile? We have a very low crime rate. So to be able to prove and show that we have a low crime rate in our downtown, and we have low point in time homeless counts and different things like that, we want to forward that, because we are a downtown. There's always going to be issues of sore kind of businesses that maybe aren't great for the community, or individuals that aren't great for the community, whether the lawyer or anything like that. But our goal is to stay ahead of that, so we are as active as possible to ensure that we have a clean, safe, and friendly downtown.
Do you think there are, good infill opportunities there for more multifamily and more mixed use?
Absolutely. I mean, right now, our biggest thing is we need more residential because the occupancy keeps filling. All the new residential that's been built has been filled, and it's going to be a higher price point than the rest of the city. And the only way that's going to go down and the market rate to go down is to have more products. So, other than student housing, which we had a huge influx of in our downtown area post when actually the University of Nebraska moved to the Big Ten. We had a lot of Big Ten developers from like Philadelphia and Chicago kind of come in and built student housing projects. And we're now looking to continue to try to figure out how can we change different office buildings or different residential to provide a diverse range of housing, affordable housing. We're seeing a lot more of that come in our downtown, true government affordable housing. And really right now it's trying to convert and get that market rate housing for especially young professionals or empty nesters that, want to be part of that downtown area full time.
So for developers looking for opportunities, should they be considering downtown Lincoln?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at our occupancy rate alone, like it's a great investment if you can pull it off. Some of it you're going to have more up front, obviously, to if you're converting an office building. But one of the toughest things is we just don't have a lot of available property. So having developers come in, most of our properties are owned and not for sale. So it requires a lot of partnerships. So getting those relationships with partnerships of already kind of developers that have been involved in this area and working with them.
I see. And then you also have relationships with these different property owners too. Do you help connect investors, developers with property owners as well?
Yeah, whenever we can. If we have people come in, we know the right people to take them to, whether it's a business or a property owner, on what properties we know may be able to turn over. But yeah, we have a really good relationship with our property owners because that is how we're funded. I am funded by these property owners, and we want to work with them. I mean, for us, it's really good. Our district works really well because, like I said before, we have 500 different property owners. So we're not like solely funded. It's not one of those where 5 property owners are paying most of our downtown assessment rates. So we're spread out really well, where we truly are kind of a large group of people that want to do what's best and the common good for the entire downtown area.
Let's talk a little bit about digital tools, dashboards, data visualization. Do you see that playing a role for you in the future?
Yeah, for us, the biggest thing is, yeah, data's great, but you got to make it look good and you got to sell it. And for me, any data I can get my hands on, that's with my marketing team. We want to turn that into, a nice infographic or a story. I do stories around a lot of our data, whether it be hard data or focus group data. Like I did a presentation on mean tweets with downtown. Like I take all the bad things people say on there about downtown that are some of the typical stuff and kind of turn it on its head and say, that's the perception, this is the reality. And this is how we're combating that. And usually that's showing these unique statistics we can find and throwing that data out to look good so people understand it.
Hey, let's talk about the next 12 short months ahead. We're now August 2024. So let's just talk about August 2025 and what we want to get done in downtown Lincoln in the next short 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 really big projects that we've been working on for a long time that stem from our 2018 downtown master plan. And one of those is this music district concept. We have a lot of local music venues concentrated on a street or a couple streets right by our university, where it's the street where most students come in from. And it also has the most history of live music, even from the late 60s. Our Zoo Bar kind of started this live blues music, and they have a festival, and there's other small venues and medium-sized venues that provide this local music. So we have this district concept where we're going to brand this area, which will highlight all of those venues. We're turning one of our parking garage venues into a local musician practice space. So to be an incubator for downtown and grow in the area and continue to do that. We're turning our garage in the district into a downtown destination garage of music history. So we don't want people to think about where they're parking when they come to this district, because right now the core of our downtown, we have a really historic Haymarket district, which is a destination. We have an East Telegraph district. We have the university to the north. We have kind of this capital area to the south. And then our central business district doesn't quite have its own destination identity. People are going to the Zoo Bar, or people are going to their bank in that area, or people going to Bourbon Theater, they're going to Lincoln Running Company, Threads, they're going to solo places. And we want this to be a destination where I say, I'm going to park once and I'm going to explore the district. And we're hoping the music district concept will provide that as a destination to say, okay, this is a really cool experience. I'm going to park on top of this garage. I'm going to go through the history of all these events that have gone downtown, all the musicians that have been there. I'm going to hear music from our local independent musicians through speakers throughout the district. I'm going to have a piano that I can play through here. I'm going to have a digital kiosk which shows me what live events there are. A green light's going to be on at every venue when they're playing live music. And I'm going to explore. I can park here and know that something's going to be happening when I go here. So that's a big project that we've started construction with our music practice venue right now. And so that's exciting. That'll be done here in a couple months. And the garage will be done within a year. And then construction of the actual right-of-way of the area will start next year as well. So there's a lot that's going to happen to make that a true destination and make it more pedestrian friendly and provide it an experience that everybody knows about, that we already know exists, but just amplify it so it's on another level so more and more people can explore the area and explore more places in that area.
Great. Well, amplification and music, I guess they go right together.
Right in there. I love that. And then, yeah, the other thing is our convention center. We're right now, we have a team called Assemble Lincoln that's working with our county government, which primarily this will be funded by state turnback taxes. And from that, we have a process that we're working with legends and populists nationally to select the right site for that. So we have 3 final sites, and we're hoping to get that selected on the 4th quarter of this year and start the design and development by next year. So that is going really, really fast. And it's been really fun to see what the community's thoughts are. And it's going to be really hard when you do pick that final location to make sure everybody's on the same page. But for us, the convention center is really, really exciting. Our arena completely transformed our downtown in 2010 when that vote, we had a bond issue vote that passed really, really with an astounding approval from our voters, and helped grow over $1.8 billion of investment around our Haymarket District area. We see this convention center doing the same to support all of our hotels. Our hotels need help. They do great during our game days and things like that, but overall, we want to get their RevPAR scores up, and we want our hotels to be successful, and convention centers are great for small business, and that's what we have in that area. So I'm really looking forward to providing a catalyst project that will help incubate and cultivate our current venues as well. So I'm really excited about those 2 projects.
Are these 3 sites, in the downtown area?
Yes, of course. I would not be involved in this if they weren't. So I got involved to say, okay, we know we need a convention center. For me, as long as it's downtown, I'm good. So yes, the final 3 sites are all downtown, and all 3 of them are in kind of different little sub-districts of downtown. So you're going to have a little district fighting to see, but working with our consultants, I'm confident they've gone over the right process and know what they're doing. They've, done hundreds and hundreds of convention centers around the world, and just really excited that we have a really cool team that we're working with for that.
Mm. Okay, well, let's play make-believe for a second, and we're going to pretend that you've been handed a magic wand. You know how to use it to cast a spell to promote the vitality of downtown Lincoln. Todd Ogden, how would you use your magic wand?
If I had that opportunity to use the magic wand, I think one of the biggest things that I would do is forward on the positivity to the rest of our community on where our downtown's going. It's going to take a couple years to fully see the overall impact. We have a great downtown today, but as we continue to fill with all these districts growing, I want everybody to be on the same page and encourage where we're going. There's no reason for us to be negative about the future of our downtown. And if everybody feels that way and is on the same page, we are going to grow in the right way, not just fast, but grow correctly. So we have that right mix and everybody's on board to have those experiences that people want. I want our downtown to continue to be unique and have several unique opportunities that I can go here one day, go there the next day. And that's only going to happen if we can continue to relay the fact that we have a great opportunity and we all want to be on that page to figure out how we fill that opportunity.
So winning hearts and souls with a great brand.
Yes.
Hey, so Todd, how can people keep an eye on what's going on in downtown Lincoln and you in particular?
Yeah, so it's easy. At Downtown Lincoln on anything, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then for me, I'm Downtown Todd. So you can find me at Downtown Todd on anything. And I'm out there trying to, push these urban trends as well. So just really excited again to relay a lot of what we've learned through, individuals like you and your companies and a lot of different IDA groups. It's just really fun to be able to have a community. Downtown communities are really unique, and working with them and ripping off and duplicating ideas is a great thing to do. And I think this is just really helpful. I've been looking for, truly unique podcasts that are talk about the specific growth model. So I'm just really excited to hear, dozens of perspectives on the same things that we're going through, because that not only helps our downtowns, but it helps our mayors and the rest of the city. A city is not going to be successful unless its downtown is successful. So we need to start there and make sure our whole community understands that.
Todd, thanks so much for joining me today. Really cool conversation.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to hearing more of this.
Cool. And to our listeners, thanks again for joining us for Decoding Downtowns. I'll like to also put a shout out to Vistity for sponsoring the podcast. And until we meet up again, keep exploring and innovating in your district.
Thank you for joining us today for Decoding Downtowns. If you've enjoyed our podcast, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's brought to you by Vistity, the leading geospatial visualization platform for data-driven decisions. Stay connected, stay informed, and let's continue to shape the future of our cities together. Until next time, I'm Jamie Schwartzman.